It started like any other day. People were walking through the mall in Los Angeles, some carrying shopping bags, others scrolling through their phones, a few just killing time. The usual hum of conversation blended with background music and the occasional laughter echoing from nearby stores. Nothing about that moment hinted that within minutes, everything would completely change. And then it happened. At first, it was subtle. A double take. A whisper. Someone stopping mid-step, eyes widening, heart racing as they tried to process what they were seeing. Was that? No, it couldn't be. Not here. Not like this. But it was. Jimin and Jungkook, two of the biggest global superstars from BTS, walking casually through a public mall as if they were just two regular guys enjoying a day out. No massive security bubble. No stage lights. No screaming crowd prepared in advance. Just them. Real. Present. Unfiltered. And that's when everything spiraled into chaos. The first fan who recognized them didn't scream right away. Instead, she froze. You could almost see the moment her brain tried to catch up with reality. Her hands trembled. Her phone slipped slightly as she raised it, unsure whether to record, wave, or just stand there in disbelief. Then she whispered, "Jimin, Jungkook." That whisper became a ripple, and that ripple turned into a wave. Within seconds, more people began to notice. Heads turned. Conversations stopped mid-sentence. A small crowd began forming, hesitant at first, like they were all collectively asking the same question. Is this really happening? But when one fan finally let out a scream, raw, emotional, uncontrollable, it was like a switch flipped. Suddenly, the mall wasn't just a mall anymore. It became a moment. Phones went up. People started running. Some fans covered their mouths in shock. Others burst into tears instantly. There were voices everywhere, calling their names, laughing nervously, crying, shouting. And in the middle of it all, Jimin and Jungkook, calm, smiling, slightly surprised, maybe, but not overwhelmed. There's something fascinating about moments like this, because what you're witnessing isn't just excitement. It's the collision between imagination and reality. For so many fans, seeing Jimin and Jungkook in person is something that exists only in dreams, concerts, or behind a screen. But now, they were right there, just a few steps away. And that changes everything. Why do fans react this way? Why does a simple, unexpected encounter create such an intense emotional explosion? It's easy to dismiss it as fan hysteria, but that would be oversimplifying something much deeper. For years, fans have built a connection with artists like Jimin and Jungkook. Through music, performances, interviews, and countless small moments shared online, these idols become part of people's daily lives. They represent comfort, inspiration, even identity for some. So when that distant figure suddenly becomes real, breathing the same air, walking the same floor, it breaks the boundary between celebrity and human. And that's overwhelming. Think about it. How would you react if someone who had been a part of your emotional world for years suddenly appeared in front of you without warning? Would you stay calm? Or would your emotions take over? In that LA mall, emotions definitely took over. Some fans couldn't stop crying. Others laughed uncontrollably. A few stood completely still, unable to move, like their bodies had temporarily shut down from the shock. And then there were those who tried to get closer. Not in a harmful way, but in that desperate, human way, wanting to be just a little nearer to something that feels unreal. Security quickly became more alert as the crowd grew larger. Staff members started coordinating, trying to maintain some order without escalating the situation. Because here's the thing, moments like this can turn chaotic fast, but they can also become dangerous if not handled carefully. And yet, despite the growing crowd, Jimin and Jungkook remained composed. They waved. They smiled. They acknowledged the fans. And those small gestures, they meant everything. It's interesting how something as simple as eye contact or a wave can become a memory that lasts a lifetime. For the fans in that mall, this wasn't just a random encounter. It was a story they would tell forever. I was there. I saw them. They smiled at me. But let's pause for a second and look at this from another angle. What does it say about global influence when two artists from South Korea can cause this level of reaction in a random mall in Los Angeles? It's not just about fame. It's about reach. BTS didn't just become popular. They reshaped what global stardom looks like. Language barriers, broken. Cultural boundaries, blurred. Geographic limits, irrelevant. Moments like this are proof. Because this wasn't a scheduled event. There was no marketing campaign, no announcement, no build-up. And yet, within minutes, the entire environment transformed. That kind of impact doesn't happen by accident. It's built over years of connection, consistency, and authenticity. But there's another layer to this story that's worth thinking about. What about Jimin and Jungkook themselves? Imagine trying to live a normal life when your presence alone can trigger chaos. Can you casually go shopping? Can you relax in public? Or does every outing carry the risk of becoming a viral moment? There's a certain paradox here. Fans love seeing their idols in normal situations because it humanizes them. It makes them relatable. But at the same time, that visibility makes normalcy almost impossible. So when we watch these moments and feel excitement, maybe it's also worth asking, what does it cost them? That doesn't take away from the joy. Not at all. But it adds perspective. Back in the mall, the situation eventually reached a tipping point. The crowd had grown too large to manage casually. Security had to step in more firmly, guiding Jimin and Jungkook toward a safer exit. Fans followed, some still crying, others calling out their names one last time. And just like that, they were gone. The energy lingered, though. You could feel it in the air. People standing around, replaying what had just happened, checking their phones, calling friends, posting videos. Did that really just happen? Yes, it did. And within hours, clips of the moment started spreading online. Different angles, different reactions, different voices capturing the same unbelievable event. But here's where things get even more interesting. When these clips hit social media, they don't just stay as videos. They become narratives. People analyze them, comment on them, interpret every small detail. Did Jungkook smile at that fan? Did Jimin wave twice? Look at their expressions. And suddenly, the moment evolves into something bigger than itself. It becomes part of the ongoing story between artists and fans. But let's be honest for a second. Would this moment feel the same if it had been planned? Probably not. There's something powerful about spontaneity. The lack of preparation makes it raw, unpredictable, and real. You can't script genuine reactions. You can't fake that level of emotion. And maybe that's why this moment resonated so strongly. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't polished. It was human. Now, let me ask you something. If you were in that mall, what would you have done? Would you run toward them? Would you freeze? Would you try to stay calm and just observe? Or would you completely lose control like so many others did? There's no right answer here. Because moments like that don't give you time to think. They just happen, and you react. That's what makes them unforgettable. There's also a deeper cultural aspect worth exploring. The relationship between K-pop idols and fans is unique. It's more interactive, more emotionally engaged than traditional celebrity culture in many ways. Fans don't just listen to the music, they invest in the journey. They celebrate milestones, support projects, defend their idols, and create communities around shared admiration. So when an unexpected real-life encounter happens, it's not just meeting a celebrity. It's meeting someone who has been part of your emotional world. That's why the reactions are so intense. And that's why moments like this matter. Not because of the chaos, but because of what the chaos represents. Connection. Now let's shift slightly. What can creators, storytellers, and even YouTubers learn from this? A lot, actually. First, unpredictability drives engagement. The reason this moment went viral isn't just because of who was involved. It's because it was unexpected. Second, emotion is everything. People don't just watch these clips, they feel them. Third, authenticity wins. No script could recreate what happened in that mall. So if you're creating content, ask yourself, Are you capturing real moments? Are you tapping into genuine emotion? Because that's what people connect with. And that's what they remember. As the videos continue to circulate, one thing becomes clear. This wasn't just a random encounter. It was a reminder. A reminder of how powerful music can be, how strong fan connections are, and how a single moment can turn an ordinary day into something unforgettable. So the next time you walk into a mall, ask yourself, what if? What if something unexpected happened? What if someone you admire just appeared out of nowhere? Would your reaction surprise you? Or would it reveal something deeper about what that person means to you? Moments like this don't come often, but when they do, they stay with you. And now, I want to hear from you. What do you think about this situation? Would you have reacted the same way as those fans? Or do you think you'd stay calm? And more importantly, do you think moments like this bring fans and artists closer? Or do they highlight the distance between them? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoy stories like this, real, emotional, and a little bit chaotic, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Because you never know when the next unbelievable moment is going to happen, and you won't want to miss it.